Ladies and gentlemen, the market has been filled with good news, with bullish news, with strength in the last week or so. There's no denying that. But I think right now, perhaps people are getting a little bit too caught up in the good news, a little bit too caught up in the hype and the greed of buying, and they're perhaps forgetting to look at some of the threats that are still here, right? The fact of the matter is, Bitcoin is still facing very major resistance at $123,000. And that resistance zone is not just a random level, it's a level that goes right backwards over a decade on two independent indicators, one of them being the power law chart, one of them being this logarithmic regression channel. And furthermore, the very resistance level we're testing right now was actually the resistance level that offered a lot of guidance into where Bitcoin could go by the end of the cycle. Now we don't have that guidance anymore, and so we have to look at other things to guess where the cycle top might be. We'll discuss that more in this video. But even on a more local level, yes, Bitcoin's surging, Ethereum's going ballistic, and altcoins are as well. But at the same time, the altcoin market in relation to Bitcoin is actually at a very major tipping point right now. And we could see a rejection here. It's very possible. So let's not jump the gun. Let's be rational, be grounded, and take a look at some of the things we need to look at today, and then reassess the situation by the end of the video and conclude with what the appropriate plan of action should be. Now, before we get into it, go to my YouTube page, go to posts, and you'll see a post there I posted yesterday. Ask me a question about the market that you'd like to see answered in an upcoming video. Any question you have about Bitcoin, altcoins, the broader macroeconomy, anything to do with this cycle or anything other than that, go ahead and drop your question on that post right there, and I'll make a video about it tomorrow. Now, before we dive into the actual content, please go ahead and check out the Bitunix Exchange. A lot of people ask me what exchange I use as a trader. I use the Bitunix Exchange, and I don't have a contract with them. I haven't signed anything with them. I don't work for them. I advertise them on my own accord. With my referral link down below, you can get a 15% trading fee discount permanently attached to your account, as well as up to 8,000 USDT in rewards just by signing up with my link down below. Why would you sign up? Well, it's global. It's non-KYC. It's never been hacked before. It's got all the functions and pairs that you would expect for a major exchange. For that reason, I use it. And I implore you to consider using it as well. Sign up with my link to help out the channel, help out yourself. Cheers. I want to start out with the altcoin market, just get it out of the way. Then we can dive into Bitcoin, the resistance, the support, and also the macro top speculations and observations we can make in regards to where the macro top will be in terms of date and in terms of price. So starting up the altcoin market, Ethereum, it's really not complicated. It's made excellent strides to the upside. You know, in the time that Bitcoin has gone upwards, from down here back in June, early June, Bitcoin has gone upwards about 25%. And from back here in April, Bitcoin has gone upwards about 65%. Well, guess what? From June, Ethereum is up close to 75%. And from April, Ethereum is up close to 170%. So it's dramatically outperforming Bitcoin. That's excellent to see. We've seen that reflected in the Bitcoin dominance chart. We've seen that reflected in the fact that the total 3 cryptocurrency market cap has broken a neckline of resistance and surged in the last couple of days, approaching its 2021 all-time high dramatically and rapidly. We've seen that in the fact that the total cryptocurrency market cap has rejected downwards or corrected downwards and flipped the 2021 all-time high, then broken from a descending channel formation. Lots of good stuff happening for altcoins in general. But it's important to note that resistance isn't always as simple as looking at a chart and drawing a line. Because right now there's no line to draw, right? We look at Ethereum, there's nothing really pressing. All right? The next resistance zone's up here at 4,000. We've got plenty of room to move before we reach that. But of course, when it comes to the altcoin market, we don't necessarily just care about altcoins or the charts that altcoins have on the USDT pairs. What we care about is whether altcoins are outperforming Bitcoin. That's the main thing. If altcoins aren't outperforming Bitcoin, there's no point in investing in them, right? Because we're taking on extra risk in it not being Bitcoin, in them being lower market cap than Bitcoin, for less reward because they'd be getting outperformed by Bitcoin. So the only market environment which is profitable to invest in altcoins is one in which they're outperforming Bitcoin. And that's what's been happening for the last 3 months. Now, the issue is right now, people are getting very hyped up because they see Ethereum moving, but they're ignoring the fact that the Ethereum BTC chart, the chart that measures the strength of Ethereum against Bitcoin, is actually facing a very major resistance zone. It's facing a major resistance zone from this red resistance box, which I've drawn observationally, a very major level. It's gone back 5 or 6 years now. It's facing resistance from the POC on the volume profile, and it's facing resistance from the weekly chart 50 exponential moving average in blue. Lots of resistance compiled into this exact region, which is currently rejecting from. Could that be indicative of a correction that is to come for the market? Well, we don't know that for sure, but what I do know is that given this situation, perhaps the time to buy altcoins, which has certainly presented itself in the last 2 weeks, is lapsed, right? Perhaps you wait now. You wait for the next big break because the breakouts occurred already for altcoins. We've seen that run on altcoins. It was very, very clear. I made it very clear on this channel that the breakout point was right here. If you listen to this channel, you would have taken advantage of that breakout. And right now we're entering a time in which we're facing major resistance on Ethereum BTC. And perhaps, waiting for the next breakout is the move instead of piling on buys right here at resistance, right? That's my analysis in the altcoin market right now. I do expect altcoins to continue to the upside. I do expect Ethereum BTC to continue to the upside eventually because we have these major momentumal shifts, as you can see right here on the RSI, and also this pattern breakout, as you can see right here on this little yellow triangle right here, as well as the broader 4-year cycle indicating that, an altcoin season is to come. All of this looks great from the macro scale, but from a short-term and medium-term scale, it looks like this could be a cool down period for the next couple of weeks for altcoins. That's unconfirmed, but until we break this exact level, that's going to be the working theory. Now, this kind of sentiment I have with altcoins right now, which is basically hold your horses. It's not just going to keep running, vertically, right? There are going to be cool down periods, and this could be one of them. That kind of theory that I have for altcoins applies to Bitcoin as well. And it's applied for Bitcoin actually for a little over a week now on this channel. Bitcoin, of course, broke above this level in yellow, going backwards from 2017. That was excellent to see, but it also has hidden resistance right now in a similar fashion to what the altcoin market is facing. Bitcoin's hidden resistance is coming from charts like the logarithmic regression channel, which is an angle-based channel measuring the angle from top to top and bottom to bottom historically. That angle of ascension between tops and tops and bottoms is actually halving each cycle, and assuming that half will continue and extrapolating it forward, we are actually at resistance right here at 123,000, and that's probably almost certainly the reason why Bitcoin rejected briefly at 123,000. So right now Bitcoin is actually facing resistance at 123, and it's got support right here in yellow going backwards from 2017 at 115. So the current range on Bitcoin is actually quite clear if you understand the charts. 123 is the top, 115 is the bottom. Until 123 breaks or 115 breaks, nothing changes. And so, wrapping around back to the altcoin analysis we did here, if 123 breaks, I would expect the altcoin market to lift off even further and conquer its resistance zone. Until that takes place, we are in a range-bound consolidation. And the same thing would apply to the downside. If 115, but I would actually go ahead and say, by the way, something more like 110, just to be clear, because there can be fake outs below major support levels like that. But if 110 breaks, hypothetically, that would be a sign that the market is actually a lot weaker than we expect, and a sign that these rejections on this chart right here, for example, actually meant a lot more than we would have thought initially. So what have we said so far? Just before we move into the cyclical top expectations, what have we said so far? We've said altcoins have made excellent moves. I do think they will continue to do so on a macro scale, but right now we face short-term resistance, and the same thing is basically true for Bitcoin as well. The range is between 123 and 115, and until that range breaks, even to the upside of a downside, let's say 110 to the downside, we really are at kind of a breathing space, a breathing room, or what can I say, at a rest period of this leg. Now, as per cyclical top expectations, there have been some changes because of, for example, this logarithmic regression channel. That might not sound like it makes sense at first, but let me explain. 4-year cycle is the only thing Bitcoin's ever known. It's the only thing we've ever known Bitcoin to know. Okay, it's based on date range trends stemming backwards from the origin of Bitcoin's price action and actually going into traditional markets as well since the 1950s. Things like the presidential cycle theory, things like the economic 18.6-year real estate cycle, right? Things like this actually matter, and they do have impact on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, and those things have led to the development of a larger 4-year cycle umbrella trend. And this 4-year cycle umbrella trend is undebatable. You can't debate it, right? It's objectively true. And it basically says we're going to be topping out around October. Now, obviously the 4-year cycle can break. When I say it's undebatable, I don't mean it will last forever. I mean that currently it is present. Currently we are acting within it. So obviously it can break, and obviously if we extend past October dramatically, or we top out way before October, the 4-year cycle would have broken. But at this point in time, we really don't have much reason to believe that it won't top out in October. Any concrete reason, I mean. There's always speculation, but that speculation has historically been 100% incorrect. So 4-year cycle is what we're working with. October is the date range trend. Somewhere around October should be the top for that reason. And when we have a channel like this, a logarithmic regression channel, and we can see with extrapolation forward where the price of the top of the channel will be in October, well, then we can assume that if we top out in this channel, like we've done on 3 previous occasions, within the bounds of the 4-year cycle, the price of the top will be at around 130,000. Now, the only issue this time with that is that we are currently testing the top of the channel right now. And the only way we would top at 130,000 in October, as per the 4-year cycle, would be if we just corrected and rejected for an extra 3 months right now, saw no parabolic phase, and then wicked back up to it in October for 130 and dropped from there. And that doesn't seem likely at all, because right now what I see is a market that has been pent up for a long time, that has just breached major levels on Ethereum, on Bitcoin as well, and is looking to run further in the short term, okay, or in the medium term, let's say. I don't see us maintaining within this channel until October and reaching 130k only as the top at this point. I think that looks unlikely. Now, I can adjust that opinion if we start consolidating for 2 or 3 months on end and we get to October, we're still below 130, then we could obviously just adjust. But at this point in time, what I see is that Bitcoin, had clarity. It had something for us to look at, which was this channel formation saying that 130k in October would be the potential top. And I see that we've reached that channel quite early, and it's quite unlikely that Bitcoin just stops here, right? For that reason, the 130k observation that we had on this channel for about 1.5 years, it was never a prediction. I never made a prediction because I didn't believe I had the data to do so, but it was certainly something we were looking at. I think that becomes obsolete now, or at least goes into kind of remission for a period of time here. Now, that was also made based on the power law chart. The power law chart, just like the channel, essentially says we're going to be at 130k in October. But again, we're testing that power law chart resistance. We haven't quite broken it yet, but unless Bitcoin corrects downwards for months on end here and wicks back up in October to 130k, which again just seems like an unlikely scenario, it looks like we're going to go upwards further here in the short term or medium term. Yeah, that falls apart. So now we kind of have to, again, put that theory aside. Maybe we can return to it if Bitcoin does consolidate or correct further. And if we do get close to October and we're not quite there yet, then we can start to think 130k as the top makes sense again. But right now, as we sit at 123,000 with 3 months remaining, it seems likely we go above 130k. And for that reason, we need to look at other things for, determining where the top will be. Now, here's the thing. There literally are no other things, okay? There's no channel like this, there's no line like this that shows us where Bitcoin will be in October that says anything other than 130k. What we do have, though, are momentum indicators. Things like this resistance line on the monthly chart RSI for Bitcoin. In fact, it's a resistance channel. It's marked tops and bottoms historically. This is going to become, and things like this, which do exist, are going to become more and more relevant. As we lack the data, we lack the trends pointing to a specific price target, we have to look at something. And momentum indicators resistance like this, as we approach the top of this channel, and if we approach it in October especially, that's when we can really start to mark the top. Now, unfortunately, it's impossible to know what price Bitcoin would be at when we touch the top of this channel. That's not how RSI works. But it would probably be above 130,000 unless something very abstract happens. So that's just a little thing to look at as well. The game is changing here a bit, right? Not only on short term, it looks like this rally we've seen has exhausted a little bit. We're taking at least a break here. Hopefully it doesn't turn into a full-fledged correction, but at this point it does seem like it's calmed down a bit on Ethereum and on Bitcoin, and also some clarity we previously had coming from things like the power law chart saying 130k in October would be the target is falling apart a little bit. Now, again, that was never a prediction. It was simply an observation based on, I think, adequate data. And that's why we never made a prediction, because we knew it could fall apart. But that has now not fallen apart, I would say, but definitely been put in the sidelines. And we're now looking more closely at things like this on the monthly chart RSI. This channel formation and other things like it will give us a lot of guidance in this bull market as we head further into the unknown. So guys, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Again, leave a question in that post. I said ask me a question about the market you'd like to see answered in an upcoming video. Go ahead and leave your question there about Bitcoin, altcoins, whatever it may be. Sorry for the rushed and quiet delivery of this video today. Again, it's very late at night. I've been trading all day the last 3 days. I haven't had time to make videos until very late at night. And for that reason, sometimes the delivery can get a bit sloppy because I'm very tired. But I appreciate you watching. And if you appreciate the content, leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that, and check out the Bitunix Exchange. A lot of people ask me what exchange I use as a trader. I use the Bitunix Exchange, and I don't have a contract with them. I haven't signed anything with them. I don't work for them. I advertise them on my own accord. With my referral link down below, you can get a 15% trading fee discount permanently attached to your account, as well as up to 8,000 USDT in rewards just by signing up with my link down below. Why would you sign up? Well, it's global, it's non-KYC, it's never been hacked before, it's got all of the functions and pairs that you would expect for a major exchange. For that reason, I use it. And I implore you to consider using it as well. Sign up with my link to help out the channel, help out yourself. Cheers.